Blessings and welcome, everyone. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for September 3rd through September 10th of 2018. How are you, beautiful friends and family? DNA calibrating all up and over this place, right? Oh, I pray and I affirm that you are well and that you are navigating this beautiful path with ease and with grace for yourself and for one and all. We have certainly been through it, haven't we, over these eclipses and the retrograde, and now things are starting to shift. Now things are starting to maybe begin to make a little bit more sense in the way that things are aligning for us, in the way that things are starting to show up for us. I'm so excited to read with you today. And as always, I want to say thank you to all of the new subscribers. I'm so very grateful. Thank you, bless you, and welcome. Thank you as well to everyone who shows up on Thursday mornings. I go live with my live stream 4D Trinity at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about all things spiritual, metaphysical, and all that good groovy stuff. So thank you for hanging out. And I pray and I affirm that everything on my channel truly serves your path of spiritual growth and spiritual sovereignty. If you want to hear more from me, go to my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com, and sign up there. Subscribe to my monthly love letter, and I will be sending out our love letter here shortly for September, and you will receive a copy, a free copy. I don't know if you heard that. My little phone gave a tweet. A copy of my book, The Higher Self, Blueprint of Mastery. Okay, all of that done and said, you know that I use the Osho Zen Tarot for our readings, and we've been in our flow of pulling a Voyager card from the Voyager deck. I want to show you the book. I showed you it before, but I want to show you again. This is the mini book. You can get the big book that goes with these cards by James Wanless. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a moment. We're going to call in our angels and our guides. For some reason, it's in my mind. My phone tweeted. I don't tweet. I'm not on Twitter. But I have the bird chirp so that when I get a text, it makes a little bird sound. So anyway, just to clarify. As we go in, we will consciously connect with our higher selves, with our angels, our guides, and all those divine light beings who love us. We thank you and we welcome you. We welcome all of your divine messages of the Most High love and light. We welcome all the guidance that you have for us. And as we make our way into shuffling this Voyager deck, we call on your wisdom and your guidance to help us voyeur into what is the main, I just had some cards fall. What is the main theme for our month of September? No, for our, you know me, I always get giddy when we do these tarot readings. I don't know what it is. I always get giddy. Okay, so 3 fell out, and what we do is, and we thank you, our angels, is that we always ask for an overview card before we pull from the rest of the deck. So 3 fell out. I have no idea what they are. I'm getting to go for the middle one though. So okay, it looks pretty darn awesome. It is the universe, people. It is the universe. So this is our overview. Have a look. I'm going to hold it up for you again. We're going to put the old glasses on, darling. And we're going to have a look-see. You know, I really appreciate all of your comments, all of your thumbs uppings and your likings and your sharings. So thank you so very much. I love this platform. I love it. So thank you for being here. Here's our card, the universe. So let's have a read. The universe symbolizes the law of universality. You are the universe. Like the center stone, you possess within yourself a universe of possibilities. What you can see in your mind's eye exists. Like Michelangelo, sculpt anything out of yourself, a flower, a city, a god, a star. Go for it. Do it. Like the stone, you are whole and perfect. But as the uncompleted sculpture, the awakening giant, your life is an unfinished process. Always in a state of beginning, you are simultaneously completing and beginning. The universe within is emerging as you grow more aware, diamond eye, emotionally expressive, flower, and physically regenerated, chipping away the old stone. Recreate your life through death and rebirth and build for yourself a new universe of new people and places. Now, isn't that interesting? I'll have to come back and put a link. The theme from last week's reading was the death of you. I just think it's interesting because it said recreate your life through death and rebirth. Okay. So the shadow of this card is overloaded with possibilities. Confused and indecisive, you become paralyzed. You can become stiff and stuck and unable to change, right? So sometimes we might feel overwhelmed, right? I mean, because remember last week there was like the possibilities and like all these amazing doors that are going to open as we die, the death of the old version of us, and come into alignment with the new version of us. Yet, I think what the shadow side of this card was saying is it's possible to feel like, whoa, kind of overloaded with too many possibilities. There's not really too many possibilities, but I think it's as long as we take care of ourselves and we're mindful to center our energy, keep grounded, keep rooted, as we always say here, meditate, meditate, meditate. Keep yourself in tune and in sync with the truth of your heart. And that's really the way home. We're going to start to shuffle our Osho Zen, and I just want to let you know that all of my links are down in the Show More box. You can donate to this channel, and thank you everyone who does. I do personal readings. Send me an email. I have a special discount. I have my regular rates online. Send me an email if you're interested, and I am so happy to hook it up. So while we're shuffling and talking, one card fell out. Oh, interesting. Laziness. Okay, we're going to see where he fits in. But let's take another moment to close our eyes and take a deep breath in and out and say thank you once again to our angels and guides and all of those beautiful light beings who love us, who support us, who surround us. Okay, two other cards just fell out. Abundance and Source. So thank you, our angels. We are so very grateful for all of the messages that you channel through these cards and channel through me. As always, I pray and I affirm that all of the messages, that everything that I share here, that our collective higher self channels through all the teachings, that they truly serve our path of spiritual growth, of sovereignty, of unity, consciousness, of empowerment, of healing, of enlightenment, and of whatever we just need for that time and space. So I'm getting to pull these chunks out right here, and I feel like this is where we're going to start. Okay, so here we go. So we know that what fell out from the very beginning, laziness. Now this is interesting, right? We're going to see how that fills in with everything. And then there was Source, which is superpower, third chakra right there. And that second chakra, okay, wait, we'll get back to it. Abundance, baby. The burden, we're familiar. We are familiar. Ordinariness, oops. Projections, this is very, very interesting. Silence, been here before too. Postponement, why do these seem like, are we having the exact same reading? Okay, this is really, really weird. I did a reading for one of you early this week, and it's like these similar cards are coming up. Nothingness and the Master. And I pre-shuffled before we started recording, and we were shuffling while we were here. It's very interesting the way all that stuff works. The Master, I mean, this is badass. And it totally goes with the universe. Because the Master ultimately learns how to be a master of themselves, and that's all we're doing as we learn how to master ourselves. In turn, The extension of that is being a master of your time and space, mastering your inner universe. Okay, so let's see here. What's going on? There's some interesting energy here because it feels a little push-pull. It feels a little bit like, remember last week, we've been talking all about those DNAs that have been going to rest now, that have been dying, that have been going to sleep, so that the junk DNA, or the DNA that has been asleep up until now, can awaken, and that there are codes of your truth, of your authentic and integral adventure, your orgasmic life path, that are awakening within you. And so I see this here, but I also see our resistance. I see our collective resistance here. And it all starts with this laziness card. So this may not speak to everyone, but I'm going to sign myself into the keynote of everyone guided to view this. And we're going to talk about this. This is emotional laziness. So even though laziness can be in our mind, it can be, you don't take the trash out. I know for me, like, I'm the worst. I'll do laundry. And because I live in heat, I live in the desert, it's like you really only run those big machines in the evening once it's cooled down, or in the super early morning. And it's funny because I'll put a load of laundry in and then I'll forget. Like, I'll put it in at night and I'll forget, and then a whole day will go by and I'll be like, oh my God, I need to like lay that stuff out to dry it, or throw it in the dryer or something. And then it'll go from the dryer, and it might sit in there for another night once it's dry, and then it finally gets into like the bin, the clothes where it needs to be folded or hung up, and it'll sit there for another day. So that's on one hand, one level of like, I could get to it probably sooner. And it's not always like that, but there's a thing where that's kind of like how it goes for me, right? I'm just being honest with you. So there's that kind of laziness. And then there's the laziness, though, where we actually never do the laundry, right? Where we never do the dishes, where we never get our papers in order, where we never, make those phone calls, or where we never do our work, our energy work. And I feel that this is what this is talking about, because that blue in the diamond is speaking specifically about our emotional self, our emotional body, and our emotional well-being. So where is it, as that death has occurred last week, and all of this new good, all of these new amazing parts of you that are ready to be birthed and born through you, right? They're seeking to be that light that shines through you, yet it feels like there are still some patches, some places where we still have emotional stuff. And I'll tell you, and some of you already know, right? I'm on Instagram and YouTube. These are my two platforms. My link is down in the show more box if you want to follow or check it out. But I've been kind of outspoken, and I think I even mentioned it on a 4D Trinity or last week in the tarot. I can't remember. But I've been kind of outspoken because an ex of mine from like 8, 9, almost 10 years ago reached out to me and wanted to like basically be friends again after they broke my heart. And I haven't seen them or heard from them in, almost 10 years. And then out of the blue, they tell me that they need me. They need their old friend back. So anyway, all of that drama. Not drama. Sorry, not sorry. It's not really drama. But it was like this resurgence of like, oh, what's this? Like, I thought this was done. I was never going to go back here, or like, what's going on? But obviously, right? It's the cycle. It's coming back around to be looked at. And even though I feel clear and I know that I made the right decision and stuff, what I'm realizing as that email has been communicated to this individual, letting them know, namaste, that in fact I am done, and that I'm not guided in my truth to recalibrate, a friendship there. And that has been expressed, and it feels so good. And thank you for, I have my handful of friends that have just been so supportive with just helping me to stay in my clarity and my truth with that. And then make it so. Yet, what I've realized is that, is there still like some deep stuff from back then that I get to complete? Even though it was complete, there's more to complete now. Where do you have, with regard to your emotional life, relationships? You know, we are in emotional relationship at our work. We're in an emotional relationship with our creative projects. We're in an emotional relationship, you know, with your pets, with your children, with your lovers, with your husband, your wife, whatever it is. And what was happening 8 years ago, right? In 2010, this time 2010, because there's astrology as well. You know, my mom's an astrologer, and I always say I love astrology. And we were looking at things, and of course, it's like this exact period is when I got my heart broken, and I had to flee. I was living in a different country. I had to flee that country and get out of there and get away from, you know, that ex at the time and all the drama and all that stuff. But it was exactly this time 8 years ago, and there's some planetary stuff going on. So is that calibrating for you? Where can you pull up your socks in the realm of your emotional being, in your emotional health and wealth and well-being, and finalize? You know, it's like, go back in there. And so this is what I know so far for me, and I'm going to share that with you, because you know, if you are a follower, you're a fan, that we do energy letters. That's one of the teachings that I share, is an energy letter. I will come back and I will put a link up top. It is such a powerful energy tool. As your higher self, you write a letter to their higher self. And what it does is it metaphysically clears and cleans and conveys what you never had the chance to say to them, or what you just couldn't say to them in person, or maybe you don't even want to feel, or you're just not guided to be in their physical presence. But emotionally, there is information that is very important for you to convey, so that you can have closure on your end, so that you can have peace. And so that's what it's about. So the death of you that happened last week, right? It feels like there's, for some of us, maybe not for all of us, but where there's still some work to do, so that that death can really be complete, so that you can really have that completion. And I feel now this is making sense, because if we do not, then it's gonna continue to be the burden. And you know all about the burden if you watch these videos. The burden, this diamond has gray, and this is gray, symbolizes the mind. So when we don't have that completion, that emotional healing, when we don't write the energy letter, when we don't go to the mountain and say that prayer and like consciously release them or forgive them or make peace with it or whatever it is, if we don't do something, have some kind of a ceremony or some kind of a bury it, burn it, something that marks it symbolically, that like, this is what you're doing and so it is. When we don't have that, then that stuff stays in us and it stays in our mind. And that's what we're doing ultimately, is we're clearing the mind, we're cleaning the mind, right? We're recalibrating the mind so that the emotions and the body can run and hold space for this new calibration of these DNAs that are activating, right? Those new DNAs, okay, so those new DNAs that are awakening and that want to keep waking up, they require the correct conditions, right? So we've already been snap, crackle, popping. We've already been activating. I mean, yes, we have, but also the DNAs are just like, what's up? I'm here, I'm activating. Ready or not, right? There's a certain degree that has just been naturally calibrating. And what this is saying is, for full maximal effect this week, what we get to be with and look at. And it's interesting because if you're into astrology at all, Venus is retrograde. So this is perfect to go back in to those especially romantic or emotionally calibrated or charged areas and do the work. Even if you've been married for like 20 years and you love your partner and you're not going to leave them or anything, but you still feel like there's something that you need to tell them or say or do or express, whether it's in an energy letter or in person or have a ceremony with them or something, to close the door, to have a sense of completion. Because what happens is if we don't, then it becomes a burden that we carry on our back that guides us. Look at the arm with the green sleeve. It's like that's the fake heart chakra of something or someone else telling us where to go and what to do, but it's not us. Look at us on the bottom. Looks kind of fuzzy, but that we're like exhausted. And look at the person that's on our back. They are holding our staff. They have our staff of power, right? Where's your staff of power? So, excuse me, if we do not heal and come to completion with those parts within us, then we are going to continue carrying the burden. But that's all stemming from that laziness. And chances are, if you're watching this, you're tuned in, you're tapped in, and you already know where there are areas in your life, like you already know, right? We're having this conversation, you're probably going, there's probably one person or one thing or that math teacher in school from when you were in 5th grade. It could be like anything, right? But what we learn is as there's a I call it vibrational alkalinity, which is how we want to keep ourselves. There's one thing about keeping ourselves, we'll have to do a whole 4DT on that. I like that. It's one thing to eat well and to keep your diet well and to keep your body alkaline, right? They say that when you have a fully alkaline body, or when the tipping point of your body rests in greater alkalinity than acidity, that you can't get sick. You're not going to get cancer. You're not going to get a host of illnesses that one may be prone to or have, or that those illnesses have access to you or to us when our chemistry is otherwise, when we're leaning more in the way of the acidity, right? And so it's the same thing, vibrational alkalinity, right? Your vibration. You can be holy as F, and you can be meditating and be a master of yoga and a Reiki master and all these things, right? And be whatever all that stuff is. But honey, if you're carrying around that baggage, it's an uphill battle, right? We get to do our work now. There's another rung of work, and it might be one little thing for you, and then as you go in and you pray on it, you meditate, you make your peace, you light your candles, you do your ceremony, your thing to mark it, to allow it to have its completion. Because honey, you got places to go and things to do, and the universe is ready to channel through you in a whole new light as this new level of master that you are becoming. Yet that there's a layer there, and we get to honor it and pay attention to it, because if we don't, it's going to postpone. Look at another card of the mind here, the gray and the diamond. It's going to postpone our journey to mastership. I like that. The journey to mastership. That's what we're on. And so, honoring it. And if you're like, there's nothing, I'm totally clear, I'm all good, I've been doing all my work and cleaning up as I go, and there's nothing wrong with me, I'm perfect. That's what I say. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe you are. It's possible. It's possible. Then cool. Blessings. And thank you for doing your work. With regard to this postponement, with this burden, right, with this laziness, now we come back to projections. Again, this emotions in the diamond, the emotional body of your being. So vibrational alkalinity, speaking to what needs clearing. What are you ready to clear and heal and make peace with in your emotional body? And you know what I'm getting? Let's just take a moment right now to close our eyes and take a breath. Connect to your higher self, simply by saying silently or out loud, I connect to my higher self. And then from that connection, ask your higher self to illumine for you where it is in your emotional body that you can explore, having closure, completion, forgiveness, yourself or others, letting go, releasing, and making peace with. And let's just sit for a moment and just, what does your higher self show you about your emotional body? Especially thinking about that vibrational alkalinity. Where can you start honoring and doing that work now? So we've put that question out to our higher self, and maybe you got a little hit or a download here, and if not, it will show you when we're ready, when you're ready to be shown, when you're ready to go there or receive the message if you didn't get anything. Because this is so important, to be honest, to be real. And okay, so I'm going to tell you more about my personal situation. I kind of had a moment with it, because on one hand, as soon as I heard from my ex, I knew in my gut and my heart that it was like, no, we're not going to do this. Like if somehow the universe had like down the line, magically, synchronistically, by happenstance, bumped us into each other, I might be like, okay, maybe we're supposed to like talk here, or maybe there's something to exchange. But it was them reaching out to me out of the blue, needing me, wanting my friendship, and their old, the old Tuesday back and all this stuff. It just, it did not feel right. And right away I knew it was a no. Yet the part of me that's like, but I love everyone and I've forgiven them. And so like, why shouldn't I just be like, yeah, what's up? It's all good. I had an issue. I had a back and forth with that. And talking to one of my BFFs, he's, after like an hour of all this stuff, he's like, well, what do you want to do? What does it feel like to you? And I was like, I want to tell the truth. And he's like, well, what's the truth? And I told him. And he then repeated it back to me. And so I could hear it, I could see it, and that's what this is about. And then I tell you, that's all it was. In the communicating back with this ex, as I was just like, in the email, I'm like, I gotta just tell you the truth. Boom, boom, 2 short paragraphs of like, this is what's up. I feel that if I had not have had the courage and the balls and the honesty to be true, if I was just projecting my emotional stuff or coming from a polarized, emotionally charged place, it would bring up that person's old stuff too, and then I'd be back. And then sure, the old Tuesday would be back. And it would postpone my universal mastery, right? And it would bring back those grids of burden, those grids of hurt, of pain. And really, it's a way to perpetuate in a lazy way, sometimes unconscious though, right? When we're lazy, we're not like, sometimes we know we're being lazy, and sometimes we're just like, oh, I guess I could have worked harder at that. Sometimes things are a learning curve. So it's not to be hard on ourselves. But the point is that with projections, the more clear and honest, and from a space of love and of your heart, of your truth, that you can communicate with others, especially as you're coming into this like, doing those final bits of work through the death of you, of that stuff we've been going through, it's going to help to, why does the word exceed? I don't feel like that's the right word. It's going to help to express? What's the word? Exceed? I don't know, it feels like to go faster. Whatever that word is, it's with an E, I think. It's going to help your process of coming into that sense of universal mastery that much quicker, right? And the chances is that you know how to be that version of yourself. You know how to be true. You know what your truth is, right? Just like me, maybe. We all have a different way, but like right away, I knew that it was a no, but I didn't know how to do the no. And I spent like a week or more like kind of, I don't know how to do the no, but should I say yes? And so there's this whole thing. And I think the point, especially with Venus retrograde, is like, don't do or say anything until you know. Even when it comes to like big fire ceremonies or burning stuff, sit with it first. I know sometimes you just want to rip it all up and throw it in the fire, and that if that happens, it happens. It's meant to be. Yet, you know, what's really in there? There's something in there for you to learn, for you to look at, so that you can grow and gain maturity from the situation. That person or those people, those places, those situations where there's those emotional ties still, even if it's been 10, 20 more years, right? There's a connection there. And the more clear and masterly you can be in the presence of that, even if they're a million miles away and it's just energetically speaking to their higher self. Oh, okay, link here. We'll come back and put it there. If it's not there yet, you can also just do the search bar in my at my channel. Take the 3-breath meditation, Take Your Power Back. It's like not even 5 minutes long, and it is powerful. A very powerful way to, again, connect from your higher self to their higher self. And through 3 breaths, conscious breaths, guided in this little mini meditation, you take your power back. And so when you do speak to them energetically in prayer or in person, you come as your full power and authority, as your master. You show up, right? Not as that person that was hurt or that's not in their center, or as the old you from the past. You show up in the now. And that's your point of power. That's what sends you into the crowning glory of mastery. That's Osho. If you don't know Osho, that's him as the master. That's like the highest card in the whole deck. And that's where we're going. And I love how it's coupled with the universe. The universe is so ready to bless us. We have been doing the work. So we know how to do the work, right? It's not like we're like, we don't know, right? Or perhaps there's a few new tools and you might find them on my YouTube, channel. You might find them out in YouTube land somewhere else, or in a book, or from your meditations. You'll just be guided. But so we're there. We're getting there. There's a part of our lives that is coming up, that we may look at it, that we may be with it, so that we can say, let me place love there. Let me forgive there. Let me just one last time communicate from my heart and soul energetically to this person, to this situation, to this event, to whatever it is or was, and make peace and cut the cords. Don't we have a video on that? I feel like we should have a video on that, or like a 4DT. If I find something, I'll put it up there. And that's another 4DT. I should start making a list of all these things, because I hear myself saying that often. So I pray and I affirm that you get what I'm saying. I mean, is it an ex-lover, husband, business partner, an old teacher that you used to have? I mean, I remember I had a teacher, a yoga teacher in New York, that really stung me a few times. And because you're so open and vulnerable in ways in yoga, especially when you're first learning, you get a little thicker skin over the years. It sounds weird, right, being kicked around by yoga teachers. But there's some interesting egos out there. I mean, we all have it. We all have an ego. And I just remember being really stung by a yoga teacher, like more than once. And I was hurt because I thought we had like a thing, like just a good, clean namaste thing. Anyway, so I don't even know what I'm saying. Yes, I do. So the point is, though, I mean, this was like 15 years ago, right? Who knows where that person is, if they're even still doing yoga or whatever all that is. The point is, though, is that those little things, if we don't make peace and forgive or forget and release it and cut the cord and just make, whatever, I'll just, okay, namaste later, doesn't matter, right? But if we don't take care of that stuff, it builds up under the rug, and that's that vibrational alkalinity. That's, if we have a whole bunch of those little dingleberries all around up in your aura, in your emotional body, and they start to crowd up, and there's like less and less room for sacred space for just love and light to just be like chilling in your emotional body, which really eventually will be one with the rest of all your bodies. But we're talking about it as a singular body, a layer of your aura, of your energy vehicle for now. And so just to imagine, if you have all sorts of stuff from the past, of people or situations like that you haven't cleared up, that's what this is talking about. It's like, where do you need to like lift up the rug and like take the little dirt devil, clean up. Even just today, I was doing spider webs. There was like all these spiders. I was like, ooh. I have a client on Monday coming, and I was like, oh, let me get up there. You know, there's like spider webs all up in our aura. So, you know what I mean. You know, play your crystal ball, right? Do your chanting, burn your sage, bathe in the lake, get barefoot in the park with your friends, whatever it is. Oh, and look, here it is. Yes, it is here. Actually, all our 3 bottom row cards. This is so beautiful because, again, we always come back to meditating. Look at the face, and the moon is right here in the third eye. So this is showing me that by the end of this month, which is going to fly by, it's like in 3 weeks, I think the full moon, not the end of the month, but like by the full moon, which I think is the 22nd of September this month, the third eye is symbolized here as the full moon. And any card that has that purple in that diamond, that's a major arcana. So this is a big heavy hitter, as is nothingness that we have yet to come into, as is our master card. So these things are massive. Our ability to be still, to be silent, to go within and to take care of ourselves, to connect to higher self, to listen. And if you don't get anything, keep going back and keep listening and just being open. And again, we'll receive when we're ready to receive that information. But keep creating the correct conditions to relax. And I know it might sound odd, but even though Mercury is done going retrograde, we're still a little bit in that you know, what do they call it? The shadow period. Venus is retrograde. It's time for you, right? Yes, you may be a caregiver, you may be taking care of others, maybe that's the nature of your work and such, but it's time for you. This is a big one. That's what I'm really getting, is that this is a really, really big one for us, collectively and individually. Because remember what we were saying last week is that as my DNA awakens through my healing process, greater self-love, greater self-mastery, awakening, holding space, healing myself, my DNA awakens. And as you do the same, your DNA awakens. And my DNA talks to your DNA, and it talks to their DNA, and her DNA, and his DNA, and all of our DNA starts to connect together as one beautiful strand of DNA that creates a constellation of a new level of consciousness, you see. So it's very important that we do our homework. And I know a lot of us here are very good meditators, right? We meditate every day. And sometimes, you know, once a day is like, I'm just getting warmed up with once a day, you know? I remember, I mean, it's different. As you meditate, I've been meditating for 30 years. So over the years, your higher self or your guides will give you different modes or means or, you know, things to do. And there was a period of my life where I disciplined 3 times a day meditating. And it just was what it was, you know? And now it's absolutely every day. And it's usually in the morning for me. Once in a while, sometimes there'll be a second one in the evening or the afternoon. I'll pull out the crystal bowl, or I'll get chanting, and I'll, you know, just be guided when I have the time and space, and it just naturally happens. And I guess so the point here is to keep doing that. Keep doing that. Keep plugged in. Keep plugged in to your celestial, cosmic, galactic, empowered multidimensionality beyond just this body. You see, because, and beyond the mind and beyond the emotions, into the heart, we're learning to work with those emotions, move them, but transmute that energy up, 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 up. And the best way to do it is not to force that kundalini, not to force it, right? The highest way, the master's way, is to simply create the correct conditions within yourself so it does it itself. It takes care of itself, your energy body. And your mind is directly connected to your emotions. So as you clear the emotions, you will begin to heal the aspect of the mind. And as your mind heals, it in turn affects the grounding of your emotional body, the alkalinity of your emotional state. And so cleansing, Epsom salt baths, going into the ocean. And when you go into the ocean, you can do it conscious. I remember there was a lady, I lived in Brooklyn for years back in the day, and there was this really cool Polish laundromat lady. Hey, what are you doing? She'd always be smoking a cigarette. She was from Long Island, or no, Jersey, but originally from Poland, right? But she'd been there for mega years. Such a character, but she had all these, when you got talking to her, she'd be like, hey, I'll tell you what you can do. Oh, now I'm doing the Russian accent. But she had this thing for hangovers. You put sliced potatoes in socks and you wear them. I've never tried it. But she had all these little cool little funky things, right? And one of them was, she was like, oh, any ailment at all, you go to the ocean and you say a prayer before you go in for what you want your healing in. She goes, and then you dive with intention under 7 waves. And it has to be 7. It's okay if they're not back to back, but she's like, you have to get in there, say that prayer, and then with that intention, under 7 waves, and then it's done. So I'm just sharing that with you because it's kind of cool and fun, and you can make up your own little thing. But water, look at emotions, cleanse, clear, purify, float, be held. Do you do isolation tank, floating in isolation tanks? What are they called? Isolation flotation tanks. Thank you very much. So good. Epsom salt bath, the hot tub, the swimming pool, the ocean, whatever it is. There's drinking water, right? Making sure, again, vibrational alkalinity. If we don't have enough water in our system, the kidney, the livers, they need to cleanse out the toxins and emotions that have become hardened, that are bitter, that are hurt, that are painful. Are toxins in your body, are acidic vibrationally. So ground, go to the earth, walk amongst the trees, hug the trees, take a little picnic, go by yourself, take your journal, take a book, breathe, look at the leaves under the light of the sun coming through them. This is about you this week. Do something this week, September 3rd through the 10th, that's going to help you come back to yourself and going to help you do what you need to do to set the stage for whatever's coming next. You know what's coming next? You're coming next. And the universe has your back. Look at this. The universe has your back. And it's totally saying, look, this is what you got to do in order to strike it rich. And I mean that in more ways than one, because we have abundance and we have source. So our source card, again, this is we are going deep into that first, but especially the second and the third chakra. And it feels that with that emotional stuff that we're healing, this is second chakra. Now, and again, it can be in the first. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're healing sexual issues, manipulative issues, fear in the sex, fear in relationships, betrayal, abuse, sleight of hand, manipulate. It feels like things where there's been, where you're scarred, where there's hurt, or where you've hurt. Maybe it's about you forgiving yourself and praying and asking forgiveness from others, which is okay. But what's happening is that that's going to help to clear up that energy at the base of the spine, so your kundi, so your kundalini, the serpent, right, can make its way up with ease without us having to have a nervous breakdown every time we get a little spritz of kundalini. We don't have to have the whole world have an earthquake. You don't. You learn to ride the serpent, and you learn how to get bubbly. I call it the orgasmic life. You learn to be I'm riding the serpent. I'm having that orgasmic life. You get to enjoy it rather than it being this total emotional roller coaster. But because we do the work, we heal. And so that naturally opens up. It creates the correct conditions for your life force energy to move up, for you to be held, for you to be served, for you to be healed, and for you to come into your greatest wealth, health, and abundance. Now, this is our masculine and feminine energy in perfect harmonic balance. This is you integrating stuff. So this is showing us that yes, we can, yes, we will, yes, we are. We are doing the work. And I love him because he's sitting on a book. Look at this book. This book is the book of self. It is the Know Thyself book. And you know, when we don't clean up all those dingleberries, and that's such not a cool word. Baubles, what else do we got? All the pain, all the stuff, right? The tars that get stuck from the past. When we don't clean that up, we're further away from who we truly are. It is the master that's like, all right, let's roll up the sleeves. Let's get all up in there. Let's call in the League of Angels, my constellation of divine guides. We're going in. And yeah, you might cry and you might need to talk to your friend for 3 hours or go for a Reiki healing or, yeah. Go to the earth. Go float in a tank. Go take an Epsom salt bath. Make sure you're meditating every day. Take care of yourself. The point is that there is information for you in your healing that you will only discover when you have the courage to go on that path. When you don't deal and heal the past stuff that's still stuck in there, the acidy stuff, you don't know who you are when you do explore that, right? Or what I'll say is that those are facets of you that you don't know yourself. The master knows themselves. The master has amassed their wisdom because, well, I believe on one hand, yes, they meditate like all the time, like discipline. You just, there's no question, you're going to meditate. It's just, you don't have to write it. Remember how we said before where it's like new habits start as like on a list where you're like, okay, I'll go to the gym. I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to make sure I drink a protein shake. You have this list. And then eventually the list becomes integrated. And you don't have to write down that you're going to meditate or go to the gym every day. You're just like, it's automatic. Because you become the master. And so anyway, the point with this is that in abundance, one knows thyself. And you know thyself, specific to this reading this week, through going back in time and through correcting, through creating the correct conditions, through creating that peace, that forgiveness, that completion. And it's when you go there that that's what a master does. A master does their work. And that's you. And the more that you do that, the more you know yourself, the more equilibrium, is that the right word? The more equilibrious your energy becomes. The more those bodies, the emotional, the mental, right, the physical, can become one, right? As long as there's chunks of stuff stuck and stagnant and sticking and blocking the natural bridging point of all of you being whole and in your full sovereign power, right? When all that stuff is there, then it's hard. It's hard to feel abundant because there's stagnation. And when you clean out your closet, you know how they say like you get rid of stuff and that nature abhors a void and that it'll fill it, But what we do is when we do our healing work and we clear the past and we clean the past, and we place love there, then love is going to come and fill it. So it's really important this week that we get in tune with healing those parts of ourselves that are residual from the death of us from last week. As we move into this universal sense of mastery. Now, and this is interesting because where it leaves us, and because we have the master, and because we have abundance, right, this card wants you to know yourself. And this card says, look, honey, do your work this week. Even if it feels like it's just a couple days of journaling and maybe you don't have any major, heavy, big things, yet still, if this resonates with you, sit with it. Let it show you what may be there. Because sometimes there's things there under the layers and we don't know that they're there until we become still enough. We breathe, we relax, and then we're like, oh, okay. Right? And then we clean, clear. The energy then is given the right of way. We can sit back and relax knowing we've done our work and we're doing our work and we know who we are. I mean, that's the greatest wealth, because then if you know who you are, all of your choices that you make in your life are going to be coming from you knowing who you are as your authentic, integral self. That's the master. That's you as the master. Now, it's interesting, the card that it leaves us with, our final card, is nothingness. And this is the ultimate, because it speaks to once we have amassed mastery, and once we are knowing thyself, and the Kundalini is flowing, and we know the universe has our back, and it's just here, gifting us, right? Infinite blessings. Then we go through this cycle, and we come into a space of not knowing anything. Relinquishing the need to know anything at all. So even though you've been doing your work and you know thyself, and you're like all mastering, right? You're like rocking your mastery. Ultimately, the master will say, I know nothing, right? You come back. Remember, this was the thing from last week. Yes, it was. We had, remember, our Voyager card was the learner. That's like a child at play that was speaking to this sense of innocence. Yet, because we've been through it, whatever it is, and we are choosing to learn and heal from those situations to know thyself. As we do that, those cycles click, 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 bring us back here. And then we come back into being a master, yet completely embodying innocence. Not having to control anything, not needing to know anything except for what your truth is, what your sovereign truth is. Nothingness, coming back to a blank canvas. So this is really exciting, because I feel like this is, like, the blank canvas is actually where abundance lives. What's that saying? When you don't make plans, oh gosh, what's that saying? It's something to the fashion of, what is it? It's like, if you have everything figured out, how is the universe going to come in and surprise you? How is synchronicity and happenstance in the most high, beautiful, blessed ways going to come in and support you and uplift you and open doors for you if you've already figured everything out? The master has like nothing figured out. Master has nothing figured out. Look at the moon. Again, that full moon. The end of September. Something is going to come to culmination. I feel like that's when we're going to really be like click, 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 like really done with the death of us, so to speak. But where we're heading is this place of nothingness, of like blank canvasness, of like, I know nothingness, yet I'm a fucking badass master. Pardon my French. When you come into mastery, like real mastery, you are like this. You're chilling on the couch, sitting on your book of knowing thyself that you wrote yourself. It's all about you. You know you. And you know you can trust you because you've learned how to have your own back. You've learned how to master your mind, master your emotions. And sure, it's a constant practice. Yet once you practice it, that energy keeps moving for you. You keep creating the correct conditions through your meditation, through grounding, through cleansing, through doing the things. Follow the guidance of your higher self. Again, if you're not already, go to my website, subscribe, get my monthly love letter, but also a free download of my mini ebook, The Higher Self. And you know what? It's also available on iBooks. It's available on iBooks, not yet on Kindle, but it's a free download. It's a little mini ebook, and it's really good if you're like, what is this higher self stuff? Or you feel like you know, but you want to expand maybe your vocabulary or ways that you think about it metaphorically, or how to exercise connecting with it. Check it out. May it serve you, because we are coming into this place of nothingness, and when you don't know, that's when the universe, in all of its amazing abundance and mystical, magical presence, can come and give us even more than what we think we want. And that's our gift for this week. Woo! Wow. Super, super beautiful. I'm so very grateful. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. I'm just so grateful. I love this platform. I love and I bless every single one of you. Again, check out all of my links down in the description box. If you wish to support this channel, I receive it and I bless it. There's a PayPal link down below and all sorts of other things. I'm an author. I have a couple books for sale, The Reiki Apprentice and How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. They're both at Kindle and paperback. And also I have a couple free downloads, The NOWOSPHERE and The Higher Self, Kindle and iBooks. Check it out. Thank you so much for all of your love and your light and your support. I'm so very grateful. Stop by on Thursday mornings for 4D Trinity, my weekly live stream, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you and namaste. Blessings. So much love to you.